Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to talk about my top 10 most underrated game consoles of all time. This is my personal list. I really encourage you guys to share your list in the comment section below. I'm really curious to see what you guys come up with. I'm going to talk about some games I recommend for each console, and in some cases, I'm also going to talk about why I think the system is underrated and perhaps why it didn't sell very well in some cases. So without any further ado, let's start with number 10.
Number 10.
Number 10 on my list is the Sega Game Gear. Came out in 1991. Not necessarily the first full-color portable console. However, it did fairly well, but it was overshadowed by the Nintendo Game Boy at the time. What I really like about the Game Gear is there's a lot of games for it that are great that a lot of people overlook. A lot of Sega Master System games that came out in other countries were ported to the Game Gear. The hardware is very, very similar. It's a really lot of fun to play. Some of the games particularly I like are the Sonic series games. I like the Sonic games. Mortal Kombat 2 is a lot of fun. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat 2. It's like, it doesn't feature all the characters, but graphically it looks pretty decent for 8-bit console. And Columns is actually a really fun puzzle game to check out for the Game Gear.
Number 9.
Number 9 on my list is the Neo Geo Advanced Entertainment System, also known as the AES. It's literally the first time they took an arcade and ported it to the home console. Amazing. Now, unfortunately, you had to pay the price. When it came out in 1990, it retailed for $650 US. Today, with inflation, that's almost $1,200. So you can imagine that it wasn't cheap then. It wouldn't be cheap now. You can see why it didn't sell very well. But some of the games I really like for the system are Metal Slug, which is a great shooter for the game. It's kind of, if you like games like Contra, you'll definitely like Metal Slug. Another game I like for it are the fighters. There's some great fighting games for the system, including King of Fighters come to mind. Samurai Showdown is an awesome series. And there's a lot of shooters for the console as well. One of my particular favorites is Prehistoric Isles 2. You take a helicopter, put it in like a Jurassic Park setting with dinosaurs. It's just a really fun game. If you're able, definitely pick up a Neo Geo. It's a little less expensive to collect for the arcade, actually, the MVS, than it is for the AES. But basically, they're the same thing. Definitely check them out.
Number 8.
Number 8 on my list is the 3DO. Initially made by Panasonic, Gold Star got into the game, of course, later on. Various companies could make the 3DO. 3DO was basically the technology, not necessarily the company behind it. The 3DO company was actually founded by Trip Hawkins, who actually founded Electronic Arts, which is kind of interesting. But speaking of EA, one of the great games for it was Road Rash. Loved Road Rash for the system. This was later ported to the PS1, but Road Rash for the 3DO is definitely superior than the PS1 port, in my personal opinion. Another great game is Super Street Fighter 2. A great game, although with a controller with 3-button, it does kind of get a little confusing. So if you can get a 6-button controller, that's definitely ideal. And also, Return Fire is a great game. It's kind of like Capture the Flag, isometric 3 down, looking down, viewpoint. A lot of fun playing multiplayer. Definitely check that game out.
Number 7.
Number 7 on my list is the Atari Lynx. Came out in 1989. This is really the first true colorful portable handheld. Really superior in many ways when compared to the Game Boy. The only problem was the battery life wasn't good. It lasted on 6 AA batteries and burnt through them like 4 or 5 hours into it. So it got very expensive to play on the go. But one thing I really liked about the Lynx, it's very unique. You can actually play it left-handed or right-handed. So it's built for ambidextrous people. You can basically flip the screen over and there's A/B buttons on both sides. So that's kind of unique. But there's some great arcade ports. Blue Lightning was great. Stun Runner is awesome. Love California Games, which is a packing game when I initially got it. Graphically, the Lynx is superior compared to the Game Boy. I think the battery life definitely killed it, and it was a lot more expensive than the Game Boy, about twice the price.
Number 6.
Number 6 is the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Now, this came out in a time in 1995 when virtual reality was really the big thing, the buzz. Virtual reality was going to be the next thing in technology. We hadn't really seen that in the 90s, unfortunately, until today with Oculus Rift, which is kind of cool. But the Virtual Boy, to me, was really cool. I think a lot of people didn't like it because it was kind of red was a main color. It wasn't in full color. It was kind of pricey. The controller's kind of weird with the 2 directional pads, but some games I really recommend for it is Tennis, which was a packing game, awesome game. I also really like Mario Class, which is kind of like the original Mario Brothers arcade, but they took it to the next level. And then Wario Land is a great platforming game. If you like Mario games, definitely check out Wario Land. Really, the 3D is done really well. It holds up really well today. Just kind of awkward to play, I think, and just a lot of people didn't catch on to it. There were only like a dozen games released for it, so there's a few games that are kind of hard to find, like Jack Brothers and Waterworld. But overall, it's a great system by Nintendo. In fact, it was one of the worst systems they've ever made as far as sales goes. But I personally love it. It's one of my favorite systems.
Number 5.
Number 5 is the Sega Master System. Came out in 1986. Now, this system did fairly well in Europe and in Brazil, so people who are from Europe watching this video are like, why is this in your top 10? Well, it didn't do very well in North America, surprisingly. Nintendo had a huge stronghold as far as third-party companies went, and so a lot of the games weren't ported to the Sega Master System, and because of that, the system didn't sell very well, and they only captured a really small percentage of the market, so Nintendo just had a huge stronghold in North America. But there's some great games. Phantasy Star obviously comes to mind. That's kind of a mix between Final Fantasy and Star Wars. It's an RPG game, but there's a lot of sci-fi elements to it. Like, it looks like there's stormtroopers in it, for example. A great game, great story. Another game is Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Was featured on Sega Master System. I also really like Golden Axe Warrior, which, unlike Golden Axe, the arcade that we're used to, the beat 'em up, this is actually a Zelda clone. So if you like those adventure games like Zelda, check this out. It's a Zelda clone. Actually, a lot of fun and pretty colorful graphics.
Number 4.
Number 4 on my list is the TurboGrafx 16 by NEC. Came out in 1989. Even though they technically call it 16-bit, it really is not. It's actually two 8-bit processors put together. But still, it's a lot of fun. I love the hue cards that it comes with. Those are great. I think it's a great idea for the hue cards. The Sega Master System had similar cards that worked for the Sega Master System, of course. But they're really a lot of fun to collect, a lot of fun to play and store, of course, pretty easy. Some of the games I really recommend are the Bonk series, which is their iconic platforming series. They have a lot of shooters. Blazing Star is one of the games I really enjoyed. I also like Devil Crush, which is a great pinball game. I also like Dragon Curse, which is actually Wonder Boy 3, just with different sprites and a little bit different story. It's a great game. You can transform into this dragon, which is pretty sweet. So overall, there's a lot of games, and they released a CD attachment for it as well. Didn't do very well. I think it was overshadowed again by the NES, and it was kind of priced expensive. But I also want to include this as well in this list. It's the Turbo Express. It's the portable handheld version of the TurboGrafx 16. So you can literally take the system and play it on the go with the hue cards. Brilliant idea by NEC. That was very expensive. Burned through batteries like the Lynx. But it's a great system. I definitely recommend it.
Number 3.
Number 3 on my list is a system that is very near and dear to my heart. It's personally my favorite console, and I think it's super underrated. It's the ColecoVision. It came out in 1982. It was kind of overshadowed by the Atari 2600 at the time. It came out a year before the video game crash, so timing wasn't really right for it. Some games I really recommend, though, is the Donkey Kong series is great. Donkey Kong 1 and Donkey Kong Jr. came out for it both. I like Tapper for it, which is a great arcade port. A lot of great arcade ports for this, including Carnival, which is a great Sega game, came out for it. Great port, almost arcade quality graphics in that game and many other games. So, but if you can get around the controller itself, it's a pretty powerful console. It's actually got the similar hardware to the MSX computer, as well as the SG-1000 system.
Number 2.
Number 2 is the Nintendo GameCube. Came out in 2001, overshadowed by the PlayStation 2, of course, when that hit the market. But I like the GameCube. One thing I don't like about the GameCube, to be honest with you, is the controller. I really didn't care for the controller. I know a lot of people like the controller, but there was a lot of great exclusive games for it. I really like the mini CDs that came out for the GameCube. I thought that was very unique by Nintendo. Some games that come to mind I recommend. Resident Evil 4 was an exclusive for a while for the system. First came out for the console. That really changed the whole Resident Evil series as we know it. And a lot of Resident Evils since have kind of patterned itself after Resident Evil 4. Another one is Luigi Mansion, which I believe was a launch title for the system. Finally, Luigi gets his own title. It's a lot of fun, very unique gameplay. I like the Rogue Squadron series that they released. Those are great couple games, Star Wars games that came out, great shooters. And the last one that comes to mind is Super Mario Sunshine. It's not as good as Super Mario 64, of course, but it's a great game. I enjoy it. It's a very unique Mario game. If you like Mario games, definitely check that one out. And as I mentioned before, was just overshadowed, kind of came out of a bad time, and definitely underrated in my book.
Honorable mention.
Before I get to number one, I want to mention honorable mention because it's hard to include all these consoles in one list. So the honorable mention is Sega Saturn. Came out in 1995, overshadowed by the PlayStation 1, unfortunately, but it's a great system by Sega. First off, some games that come to mind: great arcade ports, Virtual Cop, Sega Rally Championship is a great racer. I like Nights into Dreams. It's just such a unique game. You fly around, the music is great. Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's one of the more rare games for the system, but it kind of takes on-rail shooter meets like RPG elements. I liked the controller. It really fit well. I think the one cool thing about Nights into Dreams is the unique controller, analog controller they released just specifically for that game. It came out for other games as well. So definitely honorable mention is Sega Saturn.
Number one.
Number one on my list is the Dreamcast. Came out in 1999. Now, I remember picking this system up when it first came out. I believe it came out September 9th, 1999. And this was, again, taking the arcade quality experience and porting it to your home. There's so many great things about the Dreamcast. It wasn't necessarily the first system you could play online, but it was the first system to really modernize the online gameplay, if that makes sense. Make it a little bit easier to play online. You also had great games like arcade quality ports like Crazy Taxi. Also Dead 2 with a shooter. Shenmue is a great game, for example. Another great series are the two Sonic Adventure games. A really cool 3D style Sonic game by Sega. Just so many great games for the Dreamcast. It was definitely in the shadow of the PlayStation 2, even Xbox to a point, and other systems that came out later. But Dreamcast is definitely number one on my list. Well, guys, that completes my top 10 most underrated game consoles. I'm curious what you guys have on your list. Please leave a comment below. We'll see you guys soon, and game on. Thank you for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe. I post a new video every Tuesday. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my website, Gamester81.com. And if you also want to purchase a t-shirt, they're available at chopshopgoods.com. That helps support the show. Thanks for watching.